Coming up on FYI, the planet's getting hotter, but what can we do about it? We look into green energy and how it can help.
And I meet the amazing girls football team, who've been dubbed the Invincibles from winning their league with an undefeated streak.
Hello and welcome to FYI, your weekly news show. And this week we're kicking things off with football.
Your favourite subject?
Just a bit. So it's the final day of the Men's Premier League season this weekend, and either Arsenal or Manchester City can win the title. Let's hope it's City, of course.
You wish. And it's been a big week for women's football too, with Manchester United winning their first FA Cup trophy.
And another team making the headlines is an under-12 girls team from Bournemouth. They play in a mixed league, which is mainly made up of boys' teams. However, they've come out on top and they've won the league. Jariah went to meet them.
This is the Queen's Park Ladies under-12 team. Everyone's eyes are set on these future star players. They've just finished top of Division 3 of the Bournemouth Youth Football League with 18 wins, 4 draws and no defeats. They scored 61 goals and only conceded 11.
Obviously, you guys are amazing. I mean, you won an entire league with an undefeated streak. But there must have been a lot of people doubting you, seeing as they were mainly boys' teams, right?
Yeah, at the start they were all kind of sniggering and they just underestimated us, but especially by the second time we played them, they knew that we were nothing to laugh at.
I definitely felt quite embarrassed since, they all didn't really believe in us, and I thought, oh, maybe I actually shouldn't play football, because I'm not a boy, but it's definitely not like that. If you want to play it, you can play it, really.
Well, I don't think you should be embarrassed because I saw you playing and you're really good. Tell me about the boys' reactions when you suggested to them about being in the mixed league.
Technically it's a mixed league, but all the teams are boys' teams, so our coach kind of had to fight to get in, and it was more difficult than it should have been, really.
So do you think girls should be competing with boys more in football?
Until you get to the teenage years, there's no physical difference, so there's no reason that girls shouldn't be able to play against the boys when technically we're just as good as them, and then physically we can match them too.
I had to ask this, how did it feel lifting the trophy and just saying we won the league?
It was a crazy moment. I always thought that we could win the league, but when the day came and I was like, oh, we've actually done and won the league, and feeling the trophy and just looking at the boys' sour faces, it was very uplifting.
The fact that no one had really expected us to do it, it's like an underdog story coming through and showing them what we're made of.
What are your plans for the future?
And hopefully just keep winning the leagues, keep moving up, and obviously being a Lioness is the final goal. That would be amazing. Yeah!
Oh, they've done brilliant, haven't they?
Yeah, we'll definitely be seeing more of them in the future.
Now, for this week's fake news or fact, we found a couple of photos that have been going viral online. But do you think they're real? We've done some digging. You've probably heard the legend of the Loch Ness Monster, a beast that supposedly lives in a lake in the Scottish Highlands. To this day, people are trying to prove it exists. But have you heard of the Hoggy? This photo being shared apparently shows the Hoggenfield Loch Monster being captured almost 100 years ago. But do you believe it?
Or what about this photo of 2 goats scaling an enormous brick wall? Millions of people have seen the photo, but is it real? We'll tell you later in the show.
Coming up, guest reporters Huey and Freddie have an evil laugh-off with actress Hannah Waddingham, star of the new Garfield film. Now, the world's been breaking records recently, but not ones to be very proud of. For the last 11 months in a row, the Earth has continuously been smashing all temperature records, and last month was yet another exceptionally hot one.
Scientists are warning that if we don't reduce global warming now, we'll be at risk of even more dangerous and extreme weather. And we know that burning fossil fuels is one of the biggest causes of climate change. But what does that actually mean, and what's the alternative? Don't get it? Don't worry. I've been investigating. Have you ever thought about how much energy we use? Whether it's watching cat videos on our phones, buying a burger from a takeaway, or going somewhere in the car. Pretty much everything we do involves energy. But where does it all come from? Well, I've been checking this out. For most of human history, our energy use has been pretty low. But over the last 100 years or so, it's skyrocketed. Quite literally. At the moment, most of the energy we use comes from things like gas, oil, and coal. They're often called fossil fuels because they come from the remains of prehistoric plants and animals. These remains contain carbon, which when we bring it up from underground, can be burnt to make energy and fuel. Imagine that, we're using dead dinosaurs to move all our stuff around and generate electricity. Crazy. But burning fossil fuels also sends harmful gases into the atmosphere, causing our climate to change. Luckily though, there's another type of energy, called green energy or renewable energy. It creates electricity using wind turbines and solar panels, which use the heat of the sun. Plus, there's also hydropower, created by the flow of water in rivers and oceans. The good thing is, these forms of energy aren't as harmful for the environment, but that doesn't mean there aren't some challenges. For example, what happens when the wind isn't blowing? And what if there's no sunshine, like at night time? Well, let's talk to an expert, one of the UK's green energy pioneers, Dale Vince. Hi Dale, so can you solve some of these problems for us? Are wind turbines any good when the wind isn't blowing?
Well, it's a good question and a funny one because obviously windmills, as I prefer to call them, don't go around when there's no wind, but it's not such a big problem. That doesn't happen very often. And when it does, we have big cables connecting the countries of Europe and we can take electricity from somewhere where it is windy and give it back when we have the wind and they don't.
And what about all the steel in wind turbines? Doesn't that have to be made with fossil fuels?
Another good question. Wind turbines are made from steel and concrete. Most things are today, but that's not the problem that it might appear to be, because if you look at the carbon cost of all of those materials, when you put up one windmill, within 6 months, you've got that back through carbon savings. And for the next 30 years, you make a net saving of carbon. And steel is beginning to be made without fossil fuels as well.
But what about solar panels when there's no sunlight?
Of course, solar panels don't work when there's no sun at night time, but that's not such a big problem. People on their homes today are putting in batteries and solar panels so that when they make energy during the day that they don't need, they can keep it and use it at night.
So Dale, could we be doing more in the UK to make sure that we don't use fossil fuels?
Absolutely. There's two things we could do here. One is to use less energy. We can probably save 20 to 25% at home by turning things off, turning things down like thermostats. And meanwhile, we've got 50% green electricity on the grid. We could get to 100% in about 10 years. We have enough wind and sun to power the whole country nearly 20 times over.
Thank you, Dale.
That was my pleasure. Thank you.
So it seems like green energy really is the way forward if we want to protect our planet. And before too long, the fossil fuels that we rely on at the moment will become a thing of the past, just like dinosaurs.
Nice one, Maya.
Thank you.
Now, while we're talking about the planet, we've been checking out some great photos from the Nature Around Me photography competition put on by First News and the National Trust.
Hundreds of you captured the amazing nature on your doorstep, but there could only be one winner. And it was 10-year-old Bella who got first prize for this photo.
That's brilliant. And she joins us now in the studio alongside celebrity judge JB Gill. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming down to the studio. How are you?
Yeah, we're good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. So we'll start off with you, Bella. First of all, a massive congratulations. But can you talk to me about the idea behind the photograph and the message that you'd like to get across?
So I think the main idea behind the photo was, so there was water and there was a paper boat on top, and the water was kind of flooding onto the pavement, and that's kind of reflecting a lot about climate change. And of course I learned, like in school in geography, that climate change can cause a lot of floods, and I think it's something that we need to think more about.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. And JB, you were on the judging panel for this, so what stood out about Bella's picture to you?
We loved the fact that it provoked thought. So for us, not only does the person viewing the photo have to think about what's she trying to convey, what message is there here, it was also in an urban environment, and the competition was about nature around me. So although yes, you know, we do have some very beautiful parts of the countryside here in the UK, actually it was about what nature means to you.
And JB, unfortunately, not everybody's fortunate enough to live close to nature. And in fact, last year, the government announced that they wanted everybody in the country to live within a 15-minute walk of a green space, but 38% of the country still don't, so there's not much progress being made there. What do you make of that?
I think it's a real shame, you know, because we have some beautiful parts of the countryside here in the UK, and they are for everybody. Now my kids and I and my wife always enjoy being out in the countryside. We're lucky, of course, we've got a farm, so we've got like woods and things like that, and we can go and we can see the bluebells, and we can really appreciate all the seasons that we have here in the country as well. But as I say, it's a real shame that there aren't more green spaces, that people who do live in inner city areas can't access it as much.
So what do you think, Bella? Do you have enough green spaces near you? I mean, you've taken some pretty amazing pictures.
Yeah, I think I do. Like, a lot of people don't think that they have that around them, but really nature is everywhere.
Well, thank you very much, both of you, for joining us, and congratulations, Bella, once again.
Pleasure, thank you.
Thank you.
This is unbelievable. Have you ever seen skydivers do this? These two jumped out of a helicopter while wearing wingsuits and were able to fly through London's Tower Bridge.
Wingsuit flying has transformed skydiving from falling vertically to being able to travel almost horizontally. The pair reached a speed of over 150 miles per hour before landing safely after their incredible 45-second flight.
Next up, FYI guest reporters Huey and Freddie got to meet A-list actress Hannah Waddingham to talk all about her new movie.
Let's get it. I'm gonna name you Garfield.
The lasagna-loving, Monday-hating cat is back with a new animated adventure.
You must be looking for another gorgeous, lovable kitty cat.
But this time, Garfield's up against a brand new feline foe, played by the hilarious Hannah Waddingham.
We're going behind the scenes to see how evil she really gets.
And whether she hates Mondays.
I know I do.
Welcome back, Victor.
What was fun about playing a straight-up cartoonish villain?
I think that she is very misunderstood, and that she's got a good reason for being annoyed with, you know, with the other pussycats in this. Did you love her?
Well, I think she's one of the more intimidating characters, but that's something that...
That's not saying that you loved her.
No, it's something that needs to be in every movie.
You're so diplomatic.
Voice acting is really unique. Can you teach us how to do your evil laugh?
Yeah. Oh, right, okay, so you have to take a deep breath and you hit one note, stay there, and then cackle into it. So it goes, ready?
Try it.
Deep breath. Thank you. Go on.
That was great.
There you go. Yes.
Come on, Junior.
There was an interesting dynamic between Garfield and his dad in the movie.
Yes.
Is there anything we could take away about family relationships, or maybe not take away?
To keep talking, always. Because Garfield goes away thinking that his dad isn't coming back for him, when actually, if they'd had more of a conversation about who they were together in the first place, none of it would have happened.
And that's why we should go from Sunday to Tuesday.
So Garfield has a few traits.
Yeah.
One big one is that he absolutely hates Mondays.
Yeah.
Do you hate Mondays yourself?
No. Do you? I don't hate Mondays.
Yeah.
Do you?
Say when? Never, John. Bury me in cheese.
What's the best lasagna you've ever had?
In the south of Italy. Amazing. And I'm not joking, I cried because the tomatoes tasted so tomatoey.
Well, we hope you're going to enjoy some lasagna later, but thank you so much. Well done, pal. That was well good.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
It was brilliant.
So what did you make of this week's fake news or fact stories? The photo of the Hoggenfield loch monster being captured in the 1930s is fake news. It's another AI-generated image. If you zoom in on the photo, you can see the people's faces are blurred, which is a classic sign of AI software being used.
But this photo of goats climbing a brick wall is fact. Goats are amazing climbers. Here's some more goats climbing a huge dam in Italy. And check these guys out. They managed to climb up onto their owner's roof in Burnley before being safely brought back down. I mean, I knew goats could climb, but not like that.
Well, that's about it from us this week, but we'll be back next week with more top stories.
Bye.